Have you ever been in a relationship where you felt like you were walking on eggshells? Where every argument, every disagreement somehow ended up being your fault? Well, I have, and today I want to share a story that might sound familiar to some of you. It's a story about love, betrayal, and the slow, painful realization that the person you trusted most was secretly playing the victim to hide their own deceptions. It all started with little things. A late night at work here, a friend's night out there. I never suspected a thing. Why would I? We were happy, or so I thought. My wife, let's call her Clara, was the master of turning things around. If I ever questioned why she was distant, or why she was always on her phone, smiling at messages I wasn't allowed to see, the conversation would somehow shift. Suddenly, I was the one being insecure. I was the one being controlling. "Don't you trust me?" she'd ask, her eyes welling up with tears. And like a fool, I'd back down, apologizing for even bringing it up. I felt guilty for doubting her, for making her upset. This pattern continued for months. I found myself apologizing for things I didn't do, just to keep the peace. The emotional gymnastics were exhausting. I started to believe it. Maybe I was too needy. Maybe I was insecure. She painted a picture of me as this jealous, overbearing husband, and she was the long-suffering wife just trying to live her life. She was so convincing that even our mutual friends started looking at me differently. They'd pull me aside, telling me to give her some space, to loosen up a bit. I was being gaslit on a massive scale, and I didn't even realize it. The breaking point came in the most unexpected way. It wasn't a lipstick stain or a suspicious text message that I stumbled upon. No, it was much more mundane. Clara had been complaining about money being tight, blaming my spending habits. She claimed we needed to budget strictly, which was strange because I handle our finances and knew we were fine. One afternoon, I was sorting through some bank statements to prepare our taxes, and a charge caught my eye. A weekend getaway at a fancy boutique hotel a few towns over. A charge from a weekend she was supposedly on a work retreat. My heart sank. I remembered that weekend vividly. She told me it was a mandatory team-building event, no spouses allowed. I'd felt a little lonely but supported her career. Seeing that hotel charge, a place known for romantic getaways, not corporate meetings, felt like a punch to the gut. Still, a part of me tried to find a logical explanation. Maybe the company booked it? Maybe it was a mistake? I didn't want to believe the alternative. So I did something I'd never done before. I decided to investigate. I called the hotel, my voice trembling. I gave them her name and the dates. The receptionist was friendly and confirmed the booking. "Oh yes," she said. "Mr. and Mrs. Smith in our honeymoon suite. I hope you both enjoyed the complimentary champagne." Mr. and Mrs. Smith. My last name isn't Smith. My blood ran cold. It was all there. The lie, the other man, the elaborate charade. The work retreat was a romantic rendezvous. That evening, I confronted her. I didn't yell. I didn't scream. I calmly laid the bank statement on the kitchen table. "Explain this, Clara," I said, my voice barely a whisper. For the first time, she didn't have an immediate answer. She looked at the paper, her face turning pale. The usual tears didn't come. The usual accusations of me being paranoid were absent. There was just silence. Then she tried one last time to flip the script. "You went through my bank statements? You don't trust me at all. This is what I'm talking about. Your constant suspicion is pushing me away." But this time, it didn't work. The spell was broken. "Pushing you away to the honeymoon suite with Mr. Smith?" I asked. The look on her face was all the confirmation I needed. The victim mask finally fell, and underneath was a stranger I didn't recognize. The truth came out in a flood. It hadn't been a one-time thing. This affair had been going on for over a year. All the late nights, the secret phone calls, the fabricated arguments to create distance. It was all part of her double life. The most painful part was realizing how meticulously she had crafted her narrative. She hadn't just cheated. She had actively worked to make me believe I was the problem, isolating me from friends and chipping away at my self-worth to cover her tracks. The aftermath was difficult, as you can imagine. Separating our lives was a messy and painful process, but with every box I packed, I felt a weight lifting off my shoulders. The constant anxiety, the feeling of walking on eggshells, the self-doubt, it all began to fade. I started reconnecting with friends, the real ones, who listened and supported me without judgment. They were shocked to hear the truth, realizing they had also been manipulated by her story. It took time to heal, to rebuild my confidence and learn to trust my own judgment again. Looking back, I see the red flags I ignored, the excuses I made for her behavior because I wanted to believe in the best version of her. This experience taught me a valuable lesson. Your feelings are valid. If something feels wrong in a relationship, it probably is. Don't let anyone, no matter how much you love them, convince you that your intuition is just paranoia. True partners build you up. They don't tear you down to hide their own secrets. My story has a happy ending, not because I found someone new right away, but because I found myself again. I rediscovered my worth, my strength, and the peace that comes from living an honest life. If you're going through something similar, please know you are not alone, and you are not crazy. Trust your gut. Thank you so much for listening to my story today. It wasn't easy to share, but I hope it can help someone out there. If you enjoyed this video or found it helpful, please give it a like and consider subscribing to the channel for more stories and discussions. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever experienced something like this? Let's support each other. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.